private foundations, National Park Service, and National Science Foundation's Antarctic Artists and Writers Program. She's the author of Explaining Pictures to a Dead Hare. She used to have some cows and psalms of the early Anthropocene. That's the one that's being released tonight, is that correct? Okay. Oh, forthcoming. Well, it is here. It's here. Winter Cabin Books in 2017. So at the break or after the second session, be sure to look at the books that everybody has here. If you feel like buying them, buy them, get the author's signature. Signed copy. Kathleen, you're on.
So it's Psalms of the Anthropocene, and everywhere I turn right now, I'm hearing the word Anthropocene, and you probably are as well. Public radio, it's sort of the sad tone of the place that we're in right now. It literally means human-created or human-influenced era of Earth time, so that if we disappeared tomorrow, they'd be able to tell we were here just by the chemical traces in every layer of the Earth and the atmosphere and the rocks and the water. I'll start with an uplifting one, I hope. This is the first poem in the group. It's Song of Salmoninae, and Salmoninae is the genus, the group of the salmon trout fish that the Salmon Trout River up in Upper Marquette County is named for. So the epigraph for this is Song of Solomon. The beams of our house are cedars, our rafters are firs. Song of Salmoninae. Salmoninae loves what is larval, alluvial, a tug of fin and gravelled ripples and upwellings of groundwater's phreatic debris, tannin-sweetened tea. Come, nymphs, here hatched, here snatched, we should be so lucky, resurrected into fish skin, knowing what a river knows, nosing dark holes below wild falls, eyeing slate-laddered runs, ever meltwater fresh, pallets of stones and stoneflies, the air at dawn, an inhalation of fog and white cedar, decaying reeds, gnat pulsing with frog song or breathless noon perfumed by pine, timeless sandbars, gills. What bright things flutter in the tag alder's shadow halls? What braves the shrill light? A glimmer of green-laced wings darts through the water lens, and everything that shimmers feeds the swimmer. Come, trout, descend. Your row need no road to find their way home. Your house, the Dow's tapestry stitched by river-skimming needles, darned by overlapping silver threads, the wriggling dapples, dark ripples where the water bends or veers and turns, and under the river, another river, hyporeic, half-known, a mingling of darkness and light, plunging and lifting, hidden and feeding everything. Here, even the boulders grow mottled, resembling salmon trout. Here is where I cast my string of words, a tiny tied together psalm no bigger than a prayer, a thing of barb and barbule, filament and hair. We don't have time for clapping. I get to read an extra poem if you don't clap. We have the cautionary tale already of how to stay on time. This is dedicated to my husband, Dan Reedholm, thank you, as well as my late father-in-law, Fred Reedholm, and my mother-in-law, June read home for their gift of a place. So as much as I married my husband, I married the yellow dog, I married the history of the yellow dog and that beautiful place. And its hardships became my hardships. Its beauty became the thing that keeps me dreaming and sleepless at the same time. I'm going to read a spring poem now. And this one was directly inspired by Fred and June's place. If you've ever been out there, it's an old cabin. And the epigraph is by Mac Perry. The Calusa, that's a tribe in Florida, believed they had 3 souls: their shadow, their image in a pond, and the pupil of their eye. Spring peepers. No cabin wall so pure and wind raw it couldn't be adorned by myth or memory, the leap of our own ebullience. Spring peepers. Beneath the bark of rough sawn boards, we found messages scrawled by ghosts. A mystery there, translucence. A poem we wouldn't mind sharing, but nothing compared with the emerging of frogs. No life that won't seem thin as air, years from here. Thin years, I mean, compared with your mother's shadow, compared with days we didn't spend paddling wild shorelines. Thin walls, compared with the timeless buildings our parents built by hand from logs and dreams, believing in things built of wood, believing the frogs, the woods, would last forever. So you get the feeling that there's psalms, but there's also tension. There are things happening that are disturbing. So here's one that's more sort of updated, and this one is called "What's." Can everybody hear me? I feel like I'm shouting. Everybody can hear me back there? Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. What's seen and isn't seen. Just now, the setting sun dwindled to a brilliant prick of light, caught in the mesh bag of black spruce rimming the pond. September is dwindling. The geese say it is so. Overhead, seeking rest for the night. Somewhere miles from here, a man walks into a bar. His hands ache. He's got mud on his boots and black lube on his jeans. He knows what's a mile below the surface, an ore body giving up her secrets. All day, he's had his hands around her neck, logging cores. In the distance, they're venting the stack. So what's being blasted above ground, what's being blasted underground blows out over the world. You can't hear the particles dropping, but they do. Sulfide, copper, nickel, aluminum, a laundry list of parameters of concern. Last week, brain researchers announced they found nanoparticles of magnetite, quite different from nanoparticles of magnetite previously found inside the human brain. These nanoparticles of magnetite are rounded and not encased in biofilm, meaning the human organism is not protected from them. These nanoparticles were inhaled from car exhaust, industrial stacks. These nanoparticles are lodged inside the brain now, a part of us. It's a sort of intimacy. It's a sort of terror to think about it. What's seen and isn't seen, floating like dust motes in your brain's sunny living room. If I hold my breath like this, I hear the world more keenly. An ore truck accelerating uphill, leaving the mine gate with a full load of shattered, shimmering earth. Wolves keening in the west. Wolves keening in the west. That man inside the bar is saying it pays the bills. There is a tiny howl lodged deep inside my brain. If I howl, the wolves will answer. There is nothing I can do to make the mine truck turn its black head and answer. So this one leads into one that's both dark and light, and this is something I call the night psalms. Psalms, I don't think a psalm necessarily has to just praise. It can grieve. A psalm can grieve. So this is the night psalms. Which praise songs do you know, and when do you sing them? I only ask because it seems that the world that remains lacks praise. I only ask because the slow setting sun is lighting up this one white pine like a fine embroidered psalm. The sun is climbing branches, wrung by broken rung, saying goodnight, singing the song of a single pine spared by loggers a century ago because it was hollow, crooked. Are you hollow and crooked too? Are you still striding, still striving? I watched as a bulldozer shed a metal tooth and kept digging. Do you see the world around you as it darkens, as it dwindles, undermined and cut? Don't you reach out to these trees for a toehold, a branch beyond your wildest reach? Where are the wolves when we need them, when our hearts need their howling? Their furred, elusive tribe is flowing by at the pond's edge, hungry, for even wolves go without sometimes, though they pause to scratch at the sand and claim it and raise distant cries of pursuit and kinship, call and answer. These are the night psalms. They never fail to raise the hairs along my neck, as if I shared their faith, as if I were fluent in death, as if in my despair I am learning their tongue. How am I on time? Thank you. I'm going to jump to a little short one now since we're rejiggering our order.
By the way, thank you, everybody.
Oh, no problem. All right, so this is, I started writing about Jim Harrison after his death. He loved the Yellow Dog Plains, northern Marquette County, and so I imagine him after death, sort of in the purgatory phase of the afterlife, stuck out on the Yellow Dog Plains. So this is Jim Harrison's spirit is walking the Bentley Trail. My old alien body is a foreigner struggling to get into another country. That's an epigraph by Jim Harrison himself. Where wolves took down a yearling moose 5 years ago, a sprawl of ribs shines, scattered like moonwhite gravel road through the blueberry bushes. These bones are the same color as the bleached and broken limbs of the jack pine. This is the trail Jim Harrison's spirit is walking now. How he got here is not clear to him. A few miles back, he thinks, perhaps his old truck ran out of gas on the sand plains, and he kept going. Perhaps he has been on foot for days, searching once more for one of those ancient white pine stumps he used to love, big as a coffin, spacious as a bear den inside. Currently, he's picking his way between reworked leg bones and gnawed vertebrae, following an old walking trail. The gout's gone, the gut, the limp. He strides easily between the trees, feeling stronger, resting only to admire how silver reindeer lichen cloaks the earth, a prayer shawl. At the edge of a clearing, he pulls back his arm and throws his sturdy hickory walking stick like a spear. He will not retrieve it. When he reaches the little pond, Lethe, he cups his hand to drink from it, ice cold, a shot of vodka and trailing arbutus and mirrored spruce slammed straight from the freezer. His bad eye, a blue egg egg, lifted from its nest and turned in God's palm, is gently restored to him. He feels it opening, warm in the socket where it once was. Thank you.